Welcome to day 21. Oh my goodness, it is our last day of this program, and I just wanted to tell you how appreciative I am of you joining this program. This has been an absolute joy and delight for me to run and to do, and just getting feedback and being able to create something like this just to help you along your journey to feeling more at peace in your body. And I know in 21 days, you can have small shifts, but the more you come to these tools, the more you practice them, the more repetition you have, the more that they become rote memorization and just a part of you instead of like, oh, I need to do that. It just becomes automatic. These tools seriously are ones that you can use for the rest of your life, just to absolutely transform your relationship with your body. It takes a little bit of time because we've spent so many years restricting and being mean to ourselves. It takes a little bit to shift that and really to create that loving relationship with ourselves that we are worthy of. So thank you for being here with me. Today, my cat decided to join. Today we're gonna walk through what we learned, to give like kind of a Cliff's Notes version of everything that we learned during our time together. So first up is connection to self, right? Our first day, we talked about starting to create that time for ourselves. And in that, we learned the feeling exercise, the chairs across the chest or written on a piece of paper, to start allowing ourselves to notice what is coming up, to give space for our feelings, because that ultimately is how we are able to process what is going on. And a lot of times, anxiety, depression, feeling that harsh relationship with ourselves is more about the fact that we've been pushing down our feelings and not allowing ourselves to experience the full breadth of our experience, because we, especially as women, tend to kind of shove off our own needs for the needs of others. So this feeling exercise with the chairs across the chest just gives us space to do so. Day 2, we talked about our yes and no in our body. And I had you do a practice, that was not mine, but a really beautiful meditation on really finding out the yes and no of your body and how important it is to know it, so that when you come to a circumstance where you really have to make a decision for yourself, that you can trust your body's internal cues to let you know if it's a yes or a no for you. Day 3, we learned about trusting ourselves and how even just making a small promise to ourselves changes everything, right? Keeping a small promise to ourselves, continuing with that promise, helps us build that trust within ourselves, that we can trust what is good and right for us, that we can build that relationship with ourselves, especially after a lifetime of dieting or abandoning yourself. Learning to trust yourself is such a huge aspect of learning that peaceful, loving relationship with yourself, that you can trust your decisions, that you can trust your gut, your instincts. And so making that small promise and keeping that just grows and grows and grows to build that trust within your body. Day 4, we learned our safety check, how to slowly look around the room, to start connecting with our breath, connecting where our feet are, and just observing in the present moment where we are at, and checking in with ourselves about how much more safe we are often, as opposed to feeling like we are constantly unsafe because of what trauma has told us that we can't ever, we're never safe, and we have to constantly be looking around to make sure that we're safe, that we are actually more safe more often than we think. So the safety check was super important, to just start building that safety within our body, to recognize safety when it is present. And day 5 was all about rest, how rest is productive, how rest is so important for our systems to allow space right? We talked about how in your closet, when everything's crammed in, you can't even see what you have, right? Pulling things out that no longer serve you creates that space. Rest creates space. It creates space for you to feel your feelings. It creates space for you calm your system down, to know that you are safe, to build capacity to sit with yourself, to know you have yourself. Rest really is one of the most important things you can do for yourself with your nervous system, but just in connecting with yourself as well. On day 6, we talked about the nervous system and its function in our bodies and in our lives. And I taught you the 5-part breath that is my favorite for calming anxiety and really bringing you out of fight or flight and into rest and digest. Day 7, we did an EFT tapping technique for when we feel like our clothes don't fit and we're feeling really at odds with our body. Just a bad body image day situation. That EFT tapping technique is so powerful to really allow ourselves to express the frustration and the anger and the sadness that might come up when we feel like our clothes don't fit or we are noticing changes in our body that feel hard. I just absolutely love tapping for being able to express how I'm really feeling while regulating my nervous system. Day 8, we did a stimulation deprivation walk. And as uncomfortable as it is to go on a walk without a podcast or music or stimulation, really allowing our bodies to just orient to our surroundings and really take in the light of the day. We also talked about going on an evening walk to help with alerting your system that it's time to start getting ready for bed, that golden hour is really our body's cue to start winding down to get ready for rest. And I just love these walks. They just bring me so much peace, and they have really become a standard in my self-care. Day 9, we did a body scan meditation. And this is just, again, to help learn the cues of our bodies, to really start listening, because our bodies do not have language, they speak in sensation. And so really being able to start feeling into the sensations that are arising in our body and what it might be alerting us to, and really just dropping into our bodies at any time really can help strengthen that safety of being in the body and feeling safe. Day 10, we did a breathwork meditation, a little bit of a longer one, and this really was to help you feel at peace in your body. This practice is one of my absolute favorite. It is one that kind of got me started on breathwork, and I just love feeling the affirmations as you're breathing to just kind of integrate them into your system as truth, as you are learning to feel more at peace in your body. Day 11, we jumped into mindset tools, and we learned one of my absolute favorites, the Feel It to Become It, where we picked 5 ways we wanted to feel, and we did something every day to remind our bodies and our brains that we are feeling those things. So picking those 5 feelings and doing something every day that makes you feel that way literally can change your life. Day 12, one of the greats, the thought stop process. This tool is so amazing for helping you stop those invasive thoughts, those negative Nancy, those Reginas, those mean girls, those mean girl thoughts that are happening in your brain, to stop them in their tracks, to change your neural pathways. Do not sleep on this one. This is a game changer for feeling more at peace in your body. Day 13, we talked about the drone method, how getting that high level view of your life can help you get out of the kind of crunchy, too close feeling of what your body looks like, and really allowing you to see you in your experience as opposed to the tiny little details of our bodies that sometimes we hyper focus on. Day 14, we talked about manifesting and how we can start creating the feeling and how we want to show up by just showing up the way that we feel like our higher self or our most favorite self or our most fun self would be. Showing up and dressing that way and choosing what we want to do and how we walk into a room and how we nourish ourselves and how we move our body. Doing those things like the version of ourselves that we are wanting to be, we start creating that same frequency so that we become that vibrational match for it. Day 15 was all about compassion, and I could preach this from the rooftops. Compassion is the key to a loving, caring, peaceful relationship with yourself. It is the ultimate cornerstone of all of it. Being compassionate with yourself, talking to yourself like a loving friend, a sister, someone you care about deeply, instead of that mean girl, is so important. Caring for yourself in a way that is the most loving that you can be will change how you show up in every area of your life. Day 16, we got into food freedom, where we talked about there are no bad and good foods. Everything is neutral. Everything is allowed. Everything is neutral. There might be foods that are unsupportive for you that might react. You might have a stomach ache or other things might happen when you eat these foods, but that it's all there so that it doesn't feel like that urgency, that need to have that thing or to eat that thing so quickly because you can't have it in the house. When there are no good or bad foods, then we don't have to feel shame about what we're eating. And when we take shame out of the equation, it just creates so much more peace, so much more ease when it comes to food. We get to make decisions based on what feels best for us, what we feel is most nourishing, instead of picking something and then feeling guilt and shame over it and then eating the whole thing because we might as well, because we've already screwed it up, right? Just becoming that space of neutrality just makes eating so much easier. Day 17, we talked about blood sugar regulation and how when we eat to help our blood sugar stay in that kind of neutral zone, in that space where that wave of blood sugar just goes up and down gracefully without huge spikes and drops, that we can just feel better. But also it just promotes a better, healthier way of sustaining ourselves. And instead of focusing on foods we shouldn't eat, we can change how we eat it, in what order we eat it. Instead of tallying every calorie that we've ever eaten and thinking of the fats and all of the macros and everything, like taking that all out of the equation, just focusing on the way that we eat to support us can shift that so that we don't have to hyper focus on all of those other things, but just eat in a way that is supportive. Day 18, we talked about answering our hunger with a meal. We are wired to feast and then not, and how when we have enough food at each meal that it should sustain us for hours of time, and how that actually is supportive of our nervous system instead of just getting a little bit each time that we eat, creating that fight or flight in our bodies instead of actually allowing ourselves to feel satiated enough to get into rest and digest as we eat. Day 19, we talked about emotional eating and the push the food away practice, and how that memory, whatever memory comes up and the feelings that come up, that we might be addressing those with food instead of actually allowing ourselves to feel those feelings. So giving ourselves space to feel the feelings takes the need of that food or that drink or that scrolling and lessens that feeling, that need to have it. And day 20, we talked about food cravings and how food cravings are actually us wanting to go towards a feeling, that connection with someone that connects us with that food. and the ball of light practice that helps us be able to share that feeling and be able to separate in that file folder in our brain the love and that food, and how to separate it so that you can feel that connection, so that you can have the connection you desire without going to that food for love that that food cannot give you. And that is our whole program in the Cliff's Notes version. And again, I'm so grateful for you. The fact that you are here, the fact that you chose to do this program shows me that you really care about wanting to have a more peaceful relationship with your body. And I am so grateful that you trusted me to go through this process. And I just hope that these tools are something that you will look back on in 10, 15 years from now and be like, that changed everything. Those tools helped me create the version of myself that I am living right now. That you go out on the beach and you don't give two flying fucks about what anyone thinks about you in a swimsuit. That you wear the shorts, that you wear the bikini, that you wear that dress, that you do things for yourself, showing up as yourself. Your body is not an apology. Your body is beautiful and brave and kind and loving and generous and has been through so much. And I am just so grateful and blessed that you chose this, because you are worthy and deserving of having that relationship with yourself where you get to show up as that amazing version of you, no matter what size you are, no matter if you're 40 or 80 or 100, that you live your life, that you get to experience your life without society or your own negative thoughts pulling you down and trying to keep you small. The world doesn't need you small. It needs you to show up as you, that beautiful, amazing you that you are. So thank you again so much. And I just absolutely love you.